Right now, as I'm filming this, a historic rainfall event is happening in the St. Louis metro. Over 6 inches of rain has fallen in the last 6 hours, and several water rescues are underway as entire interstates have turned into rivers. In this video, I'm going to explain why this is happening and why I also think that this problem is going to spread over a larger area as time goes on. There's too much water in some places and not enough in others, like the quickly disappearing Lake Mead. This lake is vital to both the supply of water and electricity across the southwestern US. So we're going to cover exactly what's happening over there, but not before we dive into something really interesting that's about to take place in the atmosphere over the next several days. We have a weather battle zone that's forming that's going to cause a lot of problems as we go into the future. You see, the dome of heat that's been stuck over the central US is getting suppressed to the south by a weather system that stretches from the Central Plains into the Appalachians. There's some not so hot air pushing up against some sizzling heat, and this will spark numerous convective systems that will drop copious amounts of rain. This battle between air masses could last quite some time, so we could be in for a long duration excessive rainfall event. I am really concerned about flash flooding because a general 2 to 4 inches of rain will fall in this area through Thursday, and there's intermittent areas that could surpass 6 inches of rain. In fact, now I wouldn't be surprised if some places saw over 10 inches of rain, and if you get a good chunk of that in a short period of time, extreme flash flooding will occur like what we've seen in St. Louis. And especially in the Appalachian region, this could lead to devastating impacts thanks to the role the terrain plays on water irrigation. Here's a look at the simulated radar, and as I push this into the future, just watch all of that moisture going over the same areas over and over again. We've got a 1, 2, 3 punch of storms from the Central Plains all the way into the Appalachian region. Look, all the way back into Thursday, we have another round forming right around the St. Louis region. This is going to add to the flooding problem, and as these storms go over the same areas over and over again, we are going to see flash flooding. Switching over to a different model, we can see further into the future, and as we look at where lightning strikes may be occurring, we can see where the biggest storms are going to be. And once again, just watch all of those storms hit the same areas over and over again here from the Central Plains into the Appalachians. This weather battle zone is going to dip to the south. Watch how now we're seeing a lot of those storms move into southern Missouri, maybe even into western portions of Tennessee, northern Arkansas. This means that the overall flood risk is also going to dip to the south as well. The main issue here is going to be small stream flooding and some big time travel disruptions. You can see where the hot spots are, and it looks like Kansas and then the Appalachian region, then the tri-state area between Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia are going to receive the most rain. If you live anywhere in the red or brown, please be weather aware as flash flooding is very likely to occur. This may be good news for some areas, especially as that heat dome gets suppressed to the south, because there are some places that have been experiencing a flash drought, and this heavy rain is actually going to offset that quite a bit, especially in Missouri and northern portions of Arkansas, maybe into western Tennessee. However, rainfall will still be very hard to come by in Texas and portions of Louisiana, as that heat dome just doesn't want to budge anymore. It just doesn't want to move. And speaking of not wanting to move, have you ever felt like that? Like you just want to sit down and relax for a bit and not worry about moving? Well, that brings me to today's sponsor, June's Journey, the hidden object mobile game with a thrilling twist. I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes the weather does get boring, okay? There's no hurricanes to watch, no tornadoes to chase, no blizzards to get buried in, and when those times come, we deserve to be able to zen out and have some good old-fashioned fun. That's where June's Journey comes in. This is a riveting murder mystery adventure game set in the 1920s where you get to follow June Parker as she unravels the story behind her sister's death. Your job is to find special objects hidden in a variety of colorful, detailed images in order to progress the plot. Solve puzzles, collect clues, and piece together the mystery as you play through each exciting chapter. This game is completely free to play, and I like it, okay? And I usually don't like stuff like this. I'm telling you right now, this is a good game. You can play it on the PC through Facebook or iOS, Android on your phone, whatever you've got, it's gonna work. So go ahead, I've got a link in the description for you. Download June's Journey today, completely for free, and you're gonna enjoy your time, all right? Now, let's get back into the video. Some areas in the Pacific Northwest are forecast to be over 100 degrees for the entirety of this week. Last year, there was a similar heat wave in late June that set records of up to 116 degrees in Portland, Oregon, and 108 degrees in Seattle, Washington. We could be flirting with or trying to break some of those records, or at least coming close as we go forward. We have a big area of high pressure over here on the West Coast that is going to continue to expand and cause problems as we go forward, meaning that we're going to have little to no rainfall over here and an increased fire risk. In fact, wildfires have been taking a toll out west already, with the Oak Fire just outside of Mariposa, California, burning just west of Yosemite. The governor has declared a state of emergency as it has scorched more than 17,000 acres. It's just 10% contained, but over 3,000 structures remain threatened, with 10 destroyed. Hot, dry weather and drought conditions are the catalyst for these dangerous wildfires as these conditions prevail, and there's going to be so much smoke in the air that it could actually push north into Oregon and impact the overall temperature situation up there. So high temperatures tomorrow are going to be anomalously high over here in the Pacific Northwest, in some places 20 to 30 degrees above average. And watch how I push this forward. It doesn't let up. In fact, it gets a lot worse, especially around Friday, where we could see widespread temperatures well over 100 degrees in Oregon and Washington. And look how it goes all the way up into the British Columbia area of Canada as well. Heck, I have to pull this all the way out to August 3rd before we see any sort of relief over here, and that relief could be short lasting. And if we look further south, we've got a different beast of a problem down here in the Four Corners region. You can see that we're actually significantly below average, and that's because we've got so much monsoonal moisture pushing up into Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico. So not only do we have the flash flooding problem over here thanks to the nonstop rain in our weather battle zone, but we're also dealing with widespread thunderstorms over here in the desert Southwest. Now, it doesn't look like much on simulated radar, but let me tell you, these things are packing a punch, with tremendous amounts of moisture from Mexico finally creeping up into the area. Some of these storms are going to drop 2, 3, maybe even 4 inches of rain in a very short period of time, and this will lead to flash flooding. In fact, there are several burn scars that are going to be extra susceptible to flash flooding, and we're going to see a lot of debris flows and just tons of problems with this as we go into the future. In fact, we've already been seeing this in Arizona, where we had several flash floods yesterday and the day before as torrential rain fell thanks to this monsoon. And once again, we expect this to continue all the way through Thursday and Friday before maybe we get a little bit of a break. Okay, now let's talk about Lake Mead. Yesterday, it measured at 1,040 MSL at noon. MSL means feet above mean sea level. This time last year, it was at 1,070 MSL. And guys, this lake supplies water and electricity to Nevada, California, Arizona, New Mexico, even down into Mexico. Like, millions of people depend on this. And the lake is approaching dead pool, meaning that if we get to 895 MSL, there's no more running water, no more electricity generated, and hundreds of thousands of people may be disproportionately affected. This is the largest reservoir in the US, guys, and recent satellite imagery is literally jaw-dropping, showing the massive amount of water loss just in the past 20 years. Some places that used to be covered with almost 100 feet of water now barely have a trickle, and once bustling fishing shorelines are now giant cliffs. Several of the water intakes that lead to places like Las Vegas and Los Angeles are very close to no longer being able to source water from the lake anymore, and once the lake drops another 20 to 30 feet or so, major changes to these cities' infrastructure will have to take place. And as we look at the forecast, I see no signs of significant relief in the near future. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of water falling thanks to the monsoon that will lead to some of the tributaries that go into Lake Mead. However, there's a large basin here that needs to be affected, and we're working against a 20-year drought. It's going to take more than one active monsoon season to reverse the effects of a 20-year drought. But once again, thankfully, we are seeing a lot of rain in the Four Corners region, but we could always use more, especially over here in California. Usually we get quite a bit of that in the winter months, so we'll see what happens over there. So I'm just going to update you on this situation as I get new information. I'm not going to talk about it every day, but if you live over here, or if you're interested in the Lake Mead situation and you have a story you'd like to share, especially if you work or live around the lake, let me know. I'd love to talk to you and maybe share your story with our audience. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and thank you to all of our members over here. We've almost got 3,000 now. By the way, if you head over to shopryanhall.com right now and get you a bag of Nader beans, it's on sale, like 10% off. It's a limited time deal. Make sure you get some coffee. It's really good coffee, okay? I've heard from several experienced coffee drinkers that it's the best coffee they've ever tried. Please try it and then prove me wrong. If I'm making a false claim here, try it and prove me wrong. I will own up to it, okay? All right, go to shopryanhall.com, support the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.